Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Answer Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana, and today we're here with Sharaaz Ali from Systems Plus Computing. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Absolutely good. So let's get started. Tell me about yourself, the business, and where it all began and started going.
All right, let me talk about myself. So I am a repair technician at Systems Plus. I started there less than a year ago. Before I was in IT, I was a 3D CAD professional. I did a lot of drafting, 3D modeling, and before that I was a machinist. So I've had a lot of experience in IT. From the time I was a little kid. When I was 8 years old, I got my first computer, and my dad was at work one day. He was working overtime, and it's a funny story. I tell it all. This is how it started for me. I was always curious, what is in this box? What makes everything drive?
Yeah.
Little Windows 98, 95 computer. And I opened it up. One day he's working overtime. I opened it up, and I'm like, oh, this is really not that much. There's nothing great in here. So I started pulling things apart, I've got the hard drive over here. I've got the CD-ROM drive over here. I'm pulling everything apart. I get everything out of there, and he gives me a call, and he's like, hey, I'm on my way home. So I know that I have like half an hour to put this thing back together. And I'm like, oh no. Half an hour goes by, I get this thing back together. It is up and running. My dad comes home. Everything's good. And from that moment, something clicked in my head. It kind of gave me that courage to keep, to not be afraid to dive into things, because you'll be able to fix anything that you essentially screw up.
Yeah.
And that's actually stuck with me for a large part, till today. I'm not afraid to dive into anything new, and I feel like that's how I took the dive into IT. I've always been, geeking out about hardware, software. Even throughout the years, at different companies, they'd say, hey, we need someone to do our backups. Hey, our IT guy just left. Can someone configure this network? Can someone add this computer to our network? And that's kind of always been me. And, I saw an opening at Systems Plus, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. And it's been one of the better decisions I've made.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So at Systems Plus, we've got a retail storefront where we sell Apple products. We sell, your Macs, your iOS devices. We don't sell phones, but we have iPads and such. We have iPod Touches. We have accessories for your Apple products. And we also sell HPs and Lenovo's there. Along with that, so that's our storefront side. It's pretty self-explanatory. That's the retail section.
Yeah.
But in the back we have service, and we have business services. So business services are more network engineers and such. So if you're a business, you give us a call. You say, hey, we're having this issue with our network. We are, we're having this email issue. We'll handle it. That's where our business services kind of takes care of, and they also take care of managing our full service customers. Now, by full service, I mean like we are their IT team, but housed in our location.
Okay.
And the break fix service is where essentially you break it and we fix it. I don't know how it attained that name, but it's the name that we call it, and that area is, if you come in and you're like, my hard drive's not spinning up, it's failing. I kind of spilled wine on my MacBook.
Yeah.
I have a virus. That's the side that will take care of you. New software installation. That's more geared towards the personalized side. So if you're not a business entity, so that's where that will go. So that's pretty much Systems Plus.
Okay.
We've been in the Upper Valley for this December going on 30 years.
30 years is pretty good.
30 years.
Yeah, I like that. So I guess the first big question I can think of is, if you roll with a company like Best Buy, everyone's familiar with Geek Squad and that type of stuff.
Yep.
What are some of the big differences between like what they do and what you do?
So what Geek Squad does and what we do. We're more. I don't want to say that we're any more specialized than anyone as far as knowledge, because there are different skill sets everywhere you go. One thing that definitely helps separate us is we've been in the industry for so long.
Yeah.
We have been doing break fix service. I mean, that's how we started.
Yeah.
And we were doing it for companies like the college, Dartmouth College. And we started, like Systems Plus started doing that. And we really developed a niche doing that. Our service department is still really profitable, and it's still really huge. And I guess it's because we also not only fix your computer, but we also have sit-downs. We also have trainings. When somebody comes and picks up their machine, they get a ticketed, ticket notes that say, this is what was wrong. This was the problem. This was the solution. You're not being charged X amount for no reason. You know why you're being charged X amount. We're always looking out for the best interest of our customers. I mean, if we think that it's worthwhile for you to get a new machine at this point because your machine's 8 years old, we'll let you know. We'll give you our best advice. We really try to gear towards our customer, and everything is about that customer. I don't feel like you get that when you work under a large entity, an umbrella. We also have, customer follow-ups. I mean, I'll give you this example, and this is huge. Anywhere you go, anything you do, follow-up is key.
Yeah.
I had a customer who came in. I did a new computer setup for him. And one of the PST files from his Outlook didn't get transferred over, and it was the one with his calendar. So he called me and he said, "Hey, Sharaaz, I can't access my calendar." And I said, "Okay, can you go into the settings and just, I kind of directed him where to go." I said, "Can you take a look to see if that PST file's there?" And he said, "No, it's not." And I said, "Okay, why don't you go ahead and bring your computer back in? I'll take care of it for you." So we scheduled a time. He brought his machine back in, and I transferred that PST file for him. So I gave it back to him. I called him back. I said, "Hey, pick up your machine. It's done." He picked it up, and I gave him a call 2 days later. I said, "Hey, how's everything going?" And he said, "Actually, everything's going great." He's like, "Can I ask another request?" I said, "Sure." He said, "I'd like to access my calendar on my cell phone." I said, "Great, we'll work through that." And he said, "Also, I'd like to have somebody come out and look at my network." Great, we can do that for you. So now we have other entities of the business involved. So we had the retail, which was a new computer setup, right? We had the service, who did the new computer setup, and who is now helping him set up his calendar on his phone. And then now we have the network engineers. So all three entities in our business are out there collecting, revenue for us.
Yeah.
And not only that, we're building a good rapport with our customer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So follow-up is huge. You never know what that leads to.
Yeah.
That could lead to opportunities that you just couldn't think of. And not only does it lead to an opportunity, it also builds this relationship with the customer, that they know that at the end of the day, you were looking out for them. So
yeah.
I think that's why we differ so much from Best Buy. And, we've fixed machines that customers have had already fixed at Best Buy and Staples, not throwing anyone under the bus, but...
Yeah, and I only use those companies because they're big, people know who they are. They generally know what the services they provide. So it gives a really good starting ground for, other companies to gauge against.
Right.
So that's why I do it. I'm not making fun of everyone.
Nope.
And I am, because I can, he can't. So, because anyone else that would be impartial, for you, it's a conflict of interest.
Right.
So, what was I going to say? I don't even remember. But that's pretty cool. And I think with the world of tech, as crazy as it is and as quickly expanding as it is, having someone in your corner that knows what they're doing is helpful. Because as cool and as good as you think you are at it, you're probably messing it up. So I think having someone there to help you is important.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, if you have a great base in the of knowledge in this industry, you can go far. If you have gaps in your knowledge where you kind of know things over here, but you kind of also know things over here, but you don't know the things in between, how my operating system works, how things are happening in my network, but I'm just configuring it. It leaves a lot of room for error.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I remember, actually very recently, which is actually a good conversation to have, is there was a company down in Manchester where I'm from, and they upgraded all their computers, right? So they threw away all their computers, didn't delete anything on their computers. So someone else grabbed all the computers and then pulled information off them. There's their entire client database is there with all their information.
Right.
So that hit the newspapers because these people threw out all their stuff, but they have all this confidential information still on their stuff.
Right.
And like I said, you could be we're great about, making sure we protect all our clients' interests, and have no idea that, come time to upgrade your machines, you're making a huge mistake that opens everyone else up to identity theft. So it's just kind of things people don't realize.
And that's kind of something that we've actually been trying to focus on. Security in networks. We've been trying to focus on helping our clients in the storage of secure data. How do you handle that data?
Yeah.
If you're dealing with social security numbers, if you're dealing with date of birth, you're not only held to an ethical standard. I mean, it's federal law of how you handle your data. So it's really, it's been a focus of ours, network, security, and how you're handling that data. Even our backups. When we come to validate backups, we will come on site. We'll bring a server on site so that data never leaves that location. So that's the level of integrity that you have to handle data with.
Yeah, and like I said, most people don't realize that.
Right.
They start a small business, they'll run it on maybe the same computer they use at their house.
Right.
And then you see this with, I guess, a lot of companies.
Right.
And not even realizing that if they accidentally do something with their private computer and they have all of their clients' information on that, they risk exposing all of that.
Right.
Because they're not taking that level. And you probably know this. Most hacks don't come from attacking the system. It comes from attacking the people using the system.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And it's one of those things. Do you even know the first step to take when you were breached? I mean, you call your local authority. You get in touch with the attorney general. I mean, these are all things that have to be done. And you have to make sure that any ports that are opened are now closed and you're in a secure environment. There's just so much to it, and that's why we try to do this for our customers. I mean, you get to a point, even as a business owner, as an entity, where this level of IT work is just, it's either above you or you know it, and you find yourself having to manage your time. Do I want to invest my time in doing this, or do I want to have a company to take care of this? Let this be someone else's headache, so that way I can focus on the bread and butter of my company. Yeah,
and I think that's actually a really good point, because that's a really big area when you start seeing companies go from being solo till they start taking on employees and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's the services as well. I know Karen was talking about this earlier with me. She's like, I just want to be a really good hypnotist.
Right.
She does, but she's like, I don't want to be an expert marketer and an expert IT person. And then it gets to a point where if you want to grow, you need to do what you do and then put people in place for the other stuff.
Exactly.
And that's what a company like yours is for.
Exactly. And even in a management position, I don't know, I think a good manager can distribute responsibility amongst the team.
Yeah.
And that really helps. I mean, not only does it help you do the things that you need to do, but it also helps the others grow.
Yeah.
And it builds that trust within your team. So it goes a long way being able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Pretty cool. So, is there anything you wanted to go over that we might have missed or anything?
I don't really think so. No.
No, pretty good.
Yeah, I think we're pretty good.
Awesome. So, how do people get in touch with you, reach out if they need to talk or services and any of that type of stuff?
They would call me at Systems Plus or email me. So my number there is 603-643-5800. And my email is Sharaaz, my first name, at spci.com.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me today. This has been a lot of fun.
It has. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is going to be it for today. So everyone be good and make sure your information is protected.
Thank you.
That's it for today, everyone. But it doesn't have to end there. Head over to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or iHeartRadio to get more from New Hampshire's top entrepreneurs.